Hey folks, so I thought I would just jump on here to do a quick impromptu video that I think is important given what is happening with the state of things right now. In the astrology of April part 2, when we discussed Pluto retrograde, we began to sort of situate what's happening in the USA's natal chart, the Sibley chart, that version. So we see that with the USA. I'm looking at the chart right now. We have natal Mercury at 24 degrees of Cancer, which is opposite Pluto at 27 degrees Capricorn. So the USA has a natal Mercury Pluto opposition there. So immediately we're hearing the degrees that are quite important. So one is that in the broad scheme of things, the USA is approaching a Pluto return. Pluto is inching toward where it was when the USA kind of came into existence formally as an entity, which is 27 degrees Capricorn. But most importantly is that we have transiting Pluto now at 24 degrees, having just stationed retrograde, a very powerful, concentrated Pluto, opposite the USA's Mercury in Cancer at 24 degrees. So this is the kind of energy, this Mercury-Pluto energy here that's being stimulated by what is happening right now. And I want to just call our attention to the idea of data, what is being hidden. So let us sort of try to understand the kind of evolutionary task that the USA has, the people in that country. One is that they're dealing with a sort of tendency to have data and information buried or hidden. Mercury, Pluto, in very broad terms. Yes, hidden data and information and the management of information used as a kind of means of control. Yes, Pluto wants to manage and control. It's Pluto in Capricorn. So this kind of very authoritarian type of control of data, what is in the mass, the public perception, as symbolized there by Mercury. Yes? But so that's the kind of situation in broad terms. But the evolutionary task then is what? The people in that country are going to have the work to do to claim their power, Pluto, in respect of their perception, Mercury. It's very important because once it is understood that that entity, the flow of data in that entity, the USA, we have to sort of look beneath the surface to sort of understand, well, what's the truth about what's being circulated on TV, in media, Mercury realms, what's being circulated in these Mercury realms, the news, big media, all of that. We have to appreciate that the task here for the American people is to claim their power in respect of their perception, claim power, Pluto, in respect of their perception. Now, as this Mercury Pluto natal opposition is being stimulated by transiting Pluto, as transiting Pluto at 24 degrees of Capricorn is directly opposite, exactly opposite natal Mercury in Cancer at 24 degrees. We have to bear in mind that, well, what we are being sold, the narratives, the information, the supposed facts that we are seeing, especially in the media, well, we may have to do some more digging there. So it's Jupiter Pluto right now opposing the USA's Mercury. So we can know that there is on one level this sort of wholesale attempt to control the flow of data and information. We're seeing in the wake of COVID-19 a lot of censorship on all mass platforms. We're seeing this, the volume turned up on the censorship in just an amazing degree. Yes, and the blatant way in which information is being censored. So I'm just putting it out there to people who have their own mind, people who who are invested in, let's say, looking beneath the surface of things, who are realizing that, well, 1 + 1 is not adding up to 2 in this whole global pandemic scenario. Those people, it's an invitation right now. It's a lot of pressure evolutionary pressure to claim the power of perception. People in the USA is so important, and we talked about this in the astrology of May and also in the astrology of April, as the nodal axis now is shifting into Gemini, Sagittarius, North Node in Gemini, claiming the power of your own observation, of your own perceptual process. Yes, and the need to sort of exchange data with people on the ground as a way of sort of breaking up and fragmenting the hegemony of information control that is taking place, not just in the USA, but by extension, the entire world. By extension, the entire world, because the USA is so important in terms of the dissemination of global information, and people look toward that country. People look toward the USA in terms of the data and information that is disseminated from them. People in the USA may not realize this, but a lot of stations, news media is broadcast from around the world. So, not only is CNN and MSNBC and Fox and all of these sort of big media channels and houses, they're not only broadcasting within the USA alone, they are broadcast throughout the entire world. So the entire world is affected by America's Mercury Pluto issue. Yes? So I'm just saying, be aware in this time of what is not being said, what data is being kept under wraps. There is with Pluto station directly opposite the USA's Mercury, this real issue of perceptual and information control. And so right now, the demand is for ordinary, well-thinking people to sharpen up, deepen their perception, to look beneath the surface and to claim the power of their own observation. It is so important, folks. So I'm just jumping on here to, in very simple terms, just characterize what's happening with that USA's Mercury-Pluto opposition, and how Pluto in the sky right now at 24 degrees of Capricorn is directly opposite the USA's natal Mercury there at 24 degrees Cancer. So important, folks, in this time to guard ourselves against what would be just perceptual control. It's time for us to really claim the power of our own thought and to be able to see beneath what is happening in a global scenario that affects all of us. All right, so take good care. Bye.